Give us your list of your top 3 favorite presentations throughout the event.
Yeah, I've already mentioned Jeff Nusatelli. I think that's a must watch. I also think Diana's is really interesting. I hadn't heard that argument before, and it really resonated with my thinking on the control systems and fractal universe type stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other one, probably not to miss, is Jake Barber's session with Gary Nolan. It was just such a good venue. It was Jake and Gary just sitting down chatting, and they've worked together. So Gary would just ask him set up questions, and then Jake would just talk. He was just such a comfortable speaker, and just explained everything. I mean, basically they have so much data, and now they have to go through and actually package it in a way that it doesn't just get shot down. When Jake first came out, he was immediately hammered, called it a grifter and all these things. So I got the impression that they just want to have everything in a watertight package. Here's all our results, and it's done in such a scientific manner that it has to be accepted, essentially. So that discussion, those are probably the 3.
Hey there, beautiful souls. It's your girl, Allie. We are back at it again. We have a very special guest lined up for you today, and I am stoked to get started. So without further ado, Justin, say hey.
Hey there, Cosmic Thrill Seekers. I'm Justin. Thanks for joining us. Leslie?
Hello, I'm Leslie, also known as Light Being, Love, an eternal spiritual being having a temporary human experience. And we are very happy to have Chris Lehto here with us today. Chris, would you like to say hi?
Yes. Hi, guys. Thank you for having me. Great to see you again.
Absolutely. And for our audience, get ready for another fascinating deep dive as we welcome back the incredible Chris Lehto, retired F-16 pilot, UAP researcher, and creator of the Lehto Files YouTube channel. This time, Chris joins us fresh from the Sol 2025 Symposium, an unprecedented international gathering on UAP phenomena, held at the serene shores of Lake Maggiore, Italy. Bringing together some of the brightest minds from academia, government, science, and the private sector, Sol's annual event has become the epicenter for cutting-edge discussions on physics, astrobiology, consciousness, and the nature of non-human intelligence. This year marked the first time the symposium took place in Europe, expanding the conversation globally and opening the door to voices and perspectives from all over the world. Chris will share his firsthand experience at this landmark event, the atmosphere, the people, the groundbreaking talks, and what it all means for the future of UAP research and human understanding. From scientific breakthroughs to questions of consciousness and the cosmic connection, this conversation is a powerful glimpse into the next frontier of exploration. Chris, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Allie.
Absolutely. It's good to have you back. Feels like family dinner time or something when we have you on.
It does.
Excellent.
It does.
Yeah. I know you guys spend so much time running the Discord. I just want to say thanks so much for doing that, and I hope you're getting some value out of it.
Oh, you're very welcome. I enjoy doing it a lot.
I certainly appreciate it. I need to be there more, but I do try and hopefully check in, and you've done a great job. Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, we just concluded our UAP Halloween contest where we gave away a 1-year subscription to Askapol UAPs. Super cool. And I can't give away too many details just yet because there's a lot of things still in the works, but we have another giveaway that's in the pipeline that's pretty freaking cool. And I'll just leave it at that.
So everybody needs to join Lehto Files Discord.
Yep.
If you haven't. Link will be in the description, right?
Yes.
Precisely. All right. So, Chris, you just returned from the 2025 Sol Foundation Symposium in Italy. What was the overall energy like stepping into such a groundbreaking international gathering on UAPs?
Yeah, it was. It was really interesting. It was, like you said, this serene environment. It's just incredibly beautiful. I lived in northern Italy for 2.5 years.
Oh,
and
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was I went to Kunsan Air Base, was my first base for a year out in South Korea. And then from there, I rejoined with my wife. There's no family members can't go to Korea. We actually got married in South Korea at the embassy there on paper, which I do not recommend to anyone. Get married just in your home country for sure. Just the documentation is really difficult. Our marriage license officially sits in this random ward in Seoul, in the middle of the giant city of Seoul. It's probably in some filing cabinet. It's not easy to get to. And then we had our real wedding. You know, we had our real wedding, which family and friends was back in the States, and that's really because it was military, and so getting a visa to Italy is really difficult. So, you know, we already engaged. So we got married on paper because it takes 6 months to get really a visa for your family members. There's all these horror stories of people not being able to go and live. You know, they can't get a visa, family members. So we got married previously and then lived in Aviano, Italy for 2.5 years. Amazing base, amazing area. And it's so beautiful. So yeah, it was serene. It's not near Aviano. It's actually 4 hours to the west.
I was just wondering how close that was to where you lived.
South of Milan.
Okay.
Yeah, so there were a lot of people there. I'd say, I don't know, almost 300, I would guess.
Oh, okay.
And it was a big hotel. I saw Andy McGrillen, like the first night I saw him at the bar. I saw him like across the bar, went to say hi. And then we went to a different place to eat dinner. He already had a group to go eating dinner. And then I never saw him again. You know, I brought his book. It's actually a really good book, actually. He got it professionally published. Okay. It's this Atlas of Unidentified Flying Objects. And he's the host of that UFO podcast. I would guess people would know it. And the 4 is by Diana Pasoka. I thought that was interesting, too.
Oh, wow.
It's a great book, actually. I will say it just highlights all of the major cases across the world. And it has like color photos. There's F-16s in here from Stephenville. You know, so it's professionally done. And actually, yeah, if anyone wants to write a UFO book, they are, you know, they say you're making all that money writing UFO books. But I guess now you actually can make money writing UFO books. There's huge demand for it. I doubt he really made any money so far. But anyway, if anyone is out there is considering writing a UFO book because you have some story, then I would say go for it. You know,
awesome recommendation. Yeah,
it is not easy writing a book. Like I did the interview with him, and he said he was like borderline tears. Many instances in writing it. It took him 18 months actually. So it's not easy.
Tears of frustration. Is that what you mean?
I asked him why. It's just really difficult because you have your regular job, and he has the podcast, and he has young kids as well. And then the problem is because he's writing with a publisher. The good news is he has a really good book, like super high quality out. But I guess how you look at it, the bad news is he had like serious deadlines to actually meet. So they're like, hey, you need to meet these deadlines. There's, you know, you agreed to this contract, et cetera. So he had to like, I think, stay up a lot of nights, spend a lot of weekends, spend a lot of his free time.
Gotcha.
And you don't make any money while you're doing that. I've been working on my book now. I said, I was on your show last time. I said,
I was going to ask you, what's the update with that? Yeah, I was literally
like,
going to
it'll be out in a few months.
Right.
I'm still like, I work on it like, I would say almost every day, you know, work on it on the weekends, anytime I have free time. It's definitely cut into my YouTube schedule, cuts in. It's just a lot of, it's time. And then also just takes a lot of your brain energy. Just like
yeah,
your mental energy to work on this. And you want it to be really good. And so it's really difficult. But that being said, I would encourage anyone to actually write a book. If you want to write a book about UFOs, mine's actually not about UFOs. Well, I guess it is on a side note, but I would encourage people, to try and write it. There's never been a better time. You can get AI editing, helps you a ton.
Yeah, and I'm thinking about experiencers even, you know, to share and if they have ongoing experiences, like I'm pretty sure like that would sell. And that's really how I got into the whole near-death experience, was through books and people's experiences and writing them. So it'd be the same situation to get the word out with the experiencers writing books. Anyway,
So
sorry.
exactly.
if you're in the audience and you've had an experience, write that shit out. You know?
Yeah. Right. Why not?
Go for it. Yeah. It's not easy, but I'm sure it'll be worthwhile. You know, when you get something actually published. I've published a few books in the past. It feels great when it's out there. Once you're done, like it's done, you know. But yeah, you're probably not going to make any money. I wouldn't plan on that. It'll probably cost you money, actually.
Okay.
Hey, it's for the experience and for the love of spreading knowledge to other people. If that's what you're going for, rather than profits, then you're taking it to the bank.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can die with no regrets. Let your experience be known.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'd recommend it. But that's a long way to say, I brought this book all the way, and it's a hardcover, all the way to Italy, and I was going to get him to sign it because he sent me a copy. Okay. And I was gonna get him to sign it, and I never saw him again. Right?
Oh, you should have brought it to that dinner. That was your moment of opportunity.
Lesson learned. Take the opportunity when it comes.
But it was the first night in the bar, and that's it. I never saw him again. So I didn't see him in the lobby. I didn't see him down the hallways. So it was a very large venue. So there was a lot of people there. I saw on Twitter, X later on. I was like, oh, I didn't know she was there. You know, I would have introduced myself or said hi, or I didn't know this person was there. And he also said underneath the hotel, there was a tunnel system. I didn't even know about this tunnel system.
Oh, wow.
So I think a lot of the bigwigs and such were using the tunnel systems because it was awesome. That was my first real UFO event. And you see like Jacques Vallée walking by. You're like, it's Jacques Vallée, you know? I was like, you know, in the bathroom, I'm like peeing and I hear someone like say my name. Like, they're like, oh, I saw just Chris Lehto. He's like standing like right behind me, like washing his hands, you know? I thought that was weird. But then it was cool. Then I'm like washing my hands. I'm like, oh, hey. He's like, oh, I was just talking about you. I was like, I just heard you talking about me. But it was all, I got to talk to Ryan Grace for like a good hour, you know.
Really? Okay.
Really get a feel. Yeah, in the bar. You feel just more comfortable in the bar environment. You know, it's loud. So people probably aren't, you know, at least it's not easy to listen to your conversations. And yeah, we're just chatting. He was really quite optimistic, actually, on what's going on behind the scenes. And I was impressed. I really liked Ryan. I hadn't talked to him apart from our interview really, or a few times on X, just chatting with text, but very minimal. And I was surprised like how many different ventures he's tried. You know, he tried to start it was a venture capital funding for UFO investigations. And it just, you know, they had all this money lined up and then last minute it just fell through. Like the economy took a turn. He had the whole program built. You know, they spent $100,000 building this whole system. And multiple other projects actually. So really a lot going on behind the scenes, and he is really connected, you know, with all these people and talking to him. So he was really surprisingly optimistic. He didn't actually give any talks at the.
He wasn't a presenter, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't a presenter. He was like me, just showed up, which was super cool. So just chatting with him, and then we talked about another time I was chatting with him, just cool fighter pilot stories where he was quite experienced, because he wasn't in as many years as I was, but he did a lot of interesting things. You know, he was a forward air controller. He talked about controlling, you know, low level planes down at 100 feet. You know, I've never flown below 500 feet in a low level environment. We just
that's pretty challenging and a lot of risk associated.
Yeah, I was thinking like that's got to be scary.
Right.
Yeah. And that's where you really
less
do
room for like error margin. There's like the ground is like right there.
Yeah. And that's where you need two people in the plane, I think, or really good, a plane that has a really good autopilot, et cetera. So it was just awesome. And then I went out to dinner the last night with Beatrice Villarreal.
And Dennis,
I
right?
believe
Dennis
I said
was
it
there.
correctly.
Oh,
yes. Yeah. Dennis as well. And he found the Baltic Sea anomaly. That was super interesting. just talking to him about all his crazy like treasure hunting stories.
Okay.
And then also a guy very experienced in remote viewing. Actually, I got to talk to him as well. Another Swede.
Awesome.
Went out with the Swede contingent.
Okay.
So the people, it was like everyone there had just had a really cool, interesting story. They had all different perspectives. This guy I just met, John Norman. He's actually creating like a museum exhibit about UFOs and disclosure.
Whoa.
It'll be like one of those
Really?
traveling exhibits. I guess for 20 years he did like King Tut. I don't know if you ever saw like King Tut's exhibition.
Well,
But
I never saw
now
King
he's
Tut's, but I saw, Titanic's traveling exhibit. I've seen that one.
Okay.
Sorry.
He may have done that one too. Yeah, he's been doing it for 20 years. And so now he's doing one on UFOs. But he said no one wants to be the first. Like all the people he works, the professional insiders that have all these venues, they're all like, no, I don't want to be the first. They'll be the second. But they don't want to be the first.
Somebody's got to be brave enough. Somebody's got to be brave enough to be the first, is what I'm saying.
It was also,
Chris, I do have a question.
Go ahead. Sure.
Sol's events are known for a blending of hard science with consciousness and philosophy. As both a former F-16 pilot and UAP researcher, how did that balance strike you this time around?
I think they covered most of it, but to be honest, and I wasn't at the first two. So the first two Sol conferences were in San Francisco, and now this one was in Europe. I got the feeling from this one, they just wanted to stick to like the science. And in the intro, Peter Scapfish was saying, hey, we want to keep this, at least the presentations, more just scientific oriented. But, which is funny because all of the discussion that wasn't, along the general program, like all the backroom discussions were all like consciousness, like psionic stuff, all those type of discussions. So what if you go and watch the actual the online content, at the Sol's website, you're going to see all really great discussions. And I saw every one of them. I missed one with Brady Estevez, which I'm kind of disappointed in Jonathan Burt, because I was talking to Ryan Graves actually about the fighter stories, and I didn't realize.
You lost track of time.
It had started. Yeah, I was like, well, I'm not. This is too cool. I'm going to stay here. That's the only one I missed. Actually, I was there for all of the other ones. Yeah, which it filled up the day. So I think on purpose, they're trying to aim the discussion, at least how Sol is perceived, as more of the scientific arm. And I think that there's still just so much stigma. I really, that's what I learned from this, because there were serious scientists there. Like another cool experience is just driving in the van to the airport, because it's actually like an hour drive to the airport. I didn't even realize everyone was on this chat room. Like everybody. I learned later it was like, Whitley Strieber and Jacques Vallée and like I believe Ryan Gray, like all Beatrice, all the bigwigs are on there. And I had so many chats just spamming it like, all right, can we get people for a van to go to the airport tomorrow? And like this guy left, he said he could come. And then last minute, he's like, oh no, actually that's the wrong airport. I'm going to this airport. And then I find out later that they're all on this chat. So, which was, I found out afterwards. I've just been spamming their signal chat. But in the car was just really interesting people, just riding with us. One of the guys, he's a scientist at the Galileo project. So he's at Harvard, and with just Avi. Talking to him about the project, and which was really interesting for an hour, just chatting with him, how they have a new system that's on the sphere. They basically put one of their Galileo, it's not the full system, but it's the detailed camera system is right on top of the sphere in Las Vegas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's right on the top, which is cool, right? So that's in Las Vegas. It's right near, right near Nellis, all the sightings. So Galileo does have some camera system there. I don't know if it's the full suite. It didn't sound like the full suite, but maybe a large part of it. And how they still have issues, even though they're like the best funded, they still have issues just paying everybody's salary. I think they have 6 people working full time, but even then it's still 6 people working full time. Yeah. And so it's really difficult. And what he was saying is a lot of it's still just stigma, like dealing with that. But that's another just random conversation that I got to have. And then sitting across from me in the van is one of the top geophysicists in the world. Really, he goes all around the world. They fly him in to do like some sort of seismography installation of systems or program management. But yeah, basically dealing with all this earthquake stuff, really interesting, like earth science. And I guess he had some experience in the past, you know, that motivates him to get involved in this. And so it's just really networking of all these interesting scientists. Jake Barber was there with like his whole team. That was really interesting. It was, I really enjoyed meeting with Jake Barber, just chatting with him a little bit in the bar. I didn't get that much time with him. But you know, when he says like, I'm the boogeyman, like you meet him in person, you're like, yes, I believe that. Like the dude's,
you are.
I saw that picture with you.
Yeah,
with him. Yeah, he's tall, isn't he?
I'm not a big dude, but yeah, he's like a big dude. Like I don't think you would want to fight him like ever. I would need an airplane. Like I could do well with an airplane against Jake Barber.
Right.
And then just walking down the hallway, you know, you just like walk along and be like, "Oh, hey, I'm James Fowler." You know, "Oh, you're James Fowler." Like,
oh, he was there. I was
for his team.
Yeah.
He gave a really interesting brief. Yeah, it was really cool. And then how the atmosphere was. As soon as we arrived, this guy Andre. He's been on Ross Coulthard's show. Really interesting guy. He led it was a meditation, he called it.
Oh.
And there was like, I don't know, 70 people out there, maybe 80 people that did the meditation. That was just the first day.
That's almost a third of who showed up. That's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, there's just something about
like a CE5 meditation or
a big
what kind of meditation are you?
It wasn't a CE5. No, it was just a straight regular
like a harmonizing
meditation.
Okay.
Oh, I guess I got there, my plane was delayed. I arrived 3 a.m. so I was pretty out of it actually. But yeah, it was a visual representation. You know, imagine that there is a sphere inside of a cube and it's spinning, and so there was some sort of visual representation. And Whitley, I look up at the end and I see like Whitley Strieber, and he's like, you know, dozing or whatever. Like, I went to him afterwards. I was like, I think I saw you sleeping. And he's like, never, you know, like, but a lot of these people flew all the way from the US, you know, and so they were jet lagged. But yeah, it was a amazing environment. You relax. You could really just go up and chat with anybody. They're really open-minded.
Very cool.
Beautiful 5-star hotel right on the water. So
awesome.
Yeah, it was interesting.
So out of all those back channel conversations that you had, is there any juicy nuggets of information that you can reveal, or anything that you learned?
Yeah.
To spill the beans. It was more like just getting more clarification, like chatting with Beatrice at dinner. We got to bring it up. You know, at the end, we talked a little bit about her findings and everything. And I just brought up like Anton Petrov. He had this video basically debunking it as nuclear fallout, essentially. And, yeah, I thought her explanation was just very good. You know, she's like, yeah, that explains one part of it, but in order to have a really good explanation, it has to explain all of the pieces.
All of it. Yeah.
And she mentioned, so if the percentage, you're going to see these starlights or these things up in the sky, these transients, you know, why do you only see them in the day if it's radiation fallout, right? You should see the same percentage during the day and during the night.
Yeah.
And so statistically they found that it's like 68% during the day and much less at night. So I think that alone kind of debunks the debunk of the radiation fallout.
Yeah, and maybe to clarify for anybody who may not be aware, I'm sure most people who are watching hopefully are aware, but she recently had peer-reviewed papers. Somebody can help me say this stuff correctly, but with the images from space prior to when we actually were in space, right? Within
prior to when satellites were in orbit.
And there's like thousands, or what did she see? How much, tens of thousands or something of them, right?
It was a lot. Yes.
Yeah, there's many thousands. I don't know specifically how many per year, but yeah, the big one is when the UFOs over Washington in 1952 had a corresponding transient during that event, which was quite interesting. So that's been the highlight or the headlines, but there's been many other transients. And there was statistically linked to radiation events, so like nuclear explosions.
Right.
That's what interests me the most, is the correlations to these events. Either it's the UFO sightings or the nuclear testing that's going on. It's like she's connecting dots, and that's what I love doing, is connecting dots. I'm all about that murder board brain stuff.
Yeah.
And speaking of connecting dots, it's funny because in the back of my head, I'm thinking about that space station that shows, I don't know if y'all have ever seen it, but in space, there's clearly like things flying all around, like hundreds and hundreds of things on this space video. And I can probably find it if y'all want to show it on the thing, but it's wild.
The crew can see the tether and see the satellite. That's beautiful. This view showing the satellite. Again, just moving into sunrise. 81 nautical miles now from Columbia.
You guys getting the image?
Franklin, we see a long line, a couple of star-like things, and a lot of things swimming in the foreground. Can you describe what you're seeing?
Well, the long line is a tether, and there's a little bit of debris that kind of flies with us, and it's illuminated by the sun at such low angle. So there's a lot of stray light, and it's getting washed out quickly, but Claude is trying to do a quick, good job here adjusting the cameras.
Copy that.
In that description by the crew, this is the tether in the satellite with approximately 12 miles of tether still attached to it. Columbia and the satellite are now just passing over the west coast of northern Africa. The two spacecraft are now 90 nautical miles apart. Controllers for the satellite did have communications with it during the close pass between Columbia and the satellite.
Columbia, Houston, that's a much better view, a lot more contrast visible. And how wide does that tether appear to be? It seems to resemble a much wider strand than we'd expect. Can you describe which way the satellite is visible on that strand?
Satellite now 100 nautical miles.
Charlie, completely unzoomed, and you see the full extent of the tether. I tried to adjust the focus, but I can't get better than that.
Okay, Claude.
But like, yeah, is that what?
Well, there's multiple different videos that have been filmed in space that do have anomalous objects floating or moving around.
The one I'm thinking of, it has a long, like, it might.
Yeah,
be like,
you're talking about. It was a space shuttle. It was a space shuttle. They released a satellite that had a long tether. I forgot how long it was. It was like multiple football fields long, and they filmed this tether from a good distance away. And in the video, you can see blurry little specks of whatever, just thousands and thousands of these things floating.
And that's usually when NASA will cut the feed.
Yeah, I think the official explanation was it was dust inside of the spacecraft, but there's some that appear to go behind the tether, so there's that too. So that's not as easily explained away.
Anyway, I totally threw a left field ball there, but I was just thinking about that with her findings and everything. I don't know.
Okay.
And connecting the dots also made me say it because it's dots flying all over the place.
So we were talking about you sitting down and eating with Dr. Beatrice and Dennis and the other people. But I would like to ask you if you attended her opening presentation. Did you attend that?
Yeah, definitely. I attended every one of the presentations.
Okay.
Except for Dr. Anna Brady Estevez, which actually I wish I did it. I got the question and answer session. But yeah, Beatrice was the star of the conference, really. I think.
Tell me more, because I'm a big
highlight.
bee fan. Tell me more.
She was super cool. Yeah. Yeah. Right away, right when I walked in, she was like there. I was like, hey, it's Beatrice. And so, yeah, she was definitely the star of the celebrity, I would say.
I love that.
Of the moment, for sure.
She deserves it.
Yeah, extremely timely. Her papers finally got published in Nature. Yeah. And so that's a very top tier publication, which is interesting because then it was shut down by Archive.
Yeah, right.
I know.
Online publication, which is just amazing to me. Because and they said because it's not interesting, which is unbelievable.
Isn't that such horse crap?
That is ridiculous. And also recently, the Wikipedia patrol started coming after her and like taking stuff off her page, and she was saying how she was like upset about it. I'm like, girl, that just means that you're doing the right thing, because if you're on their radar to remove your information, that means your information is like relevant. So like, consider it a win.
What did she say to you saying that?
She hearted it.
Okay. Speaking about Wikipedia, just for anybody out there watching, I highly advise you go check out Grokpedia and use that instead of Wikipedia, because Wikipedia is definitely edited by a group called the Guerrilla Skeptics.
Yeah.
And they go and they edit anybody that has anything to do with UFO research. And they have a Wikipedia page. They'll go and they'll edit their page to make them seem crazy or sound like
remove their credentials, remove their studies, remove anything validating anything real. Basically, they go and scrub it and make it seem like it's a bunch of.
And that's basically what they did to Beatrice. You know? I mean,
along with a lot of other people. Right.
So anyway, check out Grokpedia.
Okay.
I haven't heard that.
I'll get off. Yep.
All right. So, but Dr. Beatrice Vierwell opened with the hunt for non-human artifacts near Earth. And like that title alone sparks my curiosity. So what insights or surprises did you take away from her talk?
I guess I'd seen the papers before. I'd seen her work. Actually, she's been talking about this for 2 years now, a year and a half. Yeah. And there was a point she was going to come on my show, and then either I dropped the ball and then had to reschedule, and then the second time she was going to come on, then it just never happened. And then, but then she got on all the big channels, Ross Coulthart and all those other shows. So I was like, okay, that's as long as it's being spoken out. Because when I was up at Project Heston, she spoke there online. She wasn't in person, but I got to chat with her online and ask some questions. Then, and that was a year ago, September. And she was talking about how they were being censored and they couldn't get this paper published anywhere. And so that was, for 14 months, she's been pushing the paper that was already finished. So she gave a briefing then actually about these transients. And so this isn't like some work that she just came up with or made up in a month. And then, no, these papers have been in the works for several years, and it's just finally now they were published in these papers. And I was happy to see Sabine Hossenfelder supported her. I watched the video from Sabine and basically said that, this is the most compelling evidence that Hossenfelder's seen on UAPs.
I was too.
Yeah, we covered her clip on the last news show that we did, and I was new to Sabine's channel, but yeah, it's cool.
Yeah, Beatrice never said that it was non-human intelligence. She just said there's no good explanation for this stuff. So we should try and investigate and see what it is. And then from that, it's everything else where it's coming. Oh, she says it's aliens. And, and then you have Hank Green making videos saying, well, they go to right to it's aliens. Like they did statistically correlate it at least somewhat to the nuclear weapons tests.
Mhm.
So, could it be some weird issue with that? Are these nuclear weapons tests putting something up into the upper atmosphere, and maybe that's glinting the sunlight? Is that a possibility?
Or are the tests attracting, galactic friends who are concerned for humanity?
Yeah. I mean, that's definitely one argument. And like Harold Malmgren, he was famous, for the nuclear test, where they did have a video which looks very anomalous of a UAP. So that is one good point. But she didn't say it was NHI,
Yeah.
But she is at the Sol conference. I think she does believe that, but her professional work, doesn't say that. All of it says is this is just very interesting, and there's no compelling,
and it's flat
explanation.
Flat,
reflective,
which would not be like naturally occurring.
But Chris, that's mostly due to the stigma that's still associated with UAP in the academic arena or from academia. A lot of people still have that stigma associated with it. So
nobody wants to end up on the list,
And everybody from Europe was there. All the people I knew basically from Europe. Baptiste from France, his channel's killing it in France. They have a whole organization now.
Yes.
Hundreds of people do an investigation. Fred Pallison from Project Hestelin, he was there. The Ukrainians again, the Ukrainian contingent. It was great seeing those guys again.
Nice.
It was awesome. They were there, as well as from Portugal. I had never met the main Portuguese UAP guy, Francisco João Morai. I just never met. I emailed him actually, and he said he emailed me twice.
Are you guys close? Like we're
but now I got his contact information. No, he lives up in the north. Actually, I mean, it's not that big of a country. Maybe 5 or 6 hour drive.
Okay.
But yeah, I got his contact information, so we're connected as well. So it was great. It was great meeting him, and I got to chat also with Jeff Nusatelli. That was awesome. And that guy's amazing.
Interesting.
I was really blown away by him. He's awesome. Chatted with him in the bar, and that was really interesting. If you haven't watched any presentation, you have to watch his presentation at the Sol conference.
Okay, tell me why.
It's unbelievable. It was the only one that got a standing ovation, I think.
Really?
Yeah, the only one. That was it. You can just tell he's a natural leader. Also, like Tim Gallaudet, he's just so personable, so friendly, so professional. And on the stage, I've seen generals and talk for so many years, for 20 years. You see the base general talk, and they're just extremely good orators. They can talk in front of a crowd. They know how to speak and lead and motivate people. And Gallaudet's obviously this amazing leader. I mean, he's just a great guy. It was really nice to meet him and his wife. And she's like, I'm a huge fan of your channel, and like hugged me. I was like, wow,
Oh, awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I was like, that was awesome.
That was validation, right? That's cool.
Yeah, that was cool. It was great. No, she was amazing. But I saw the same thing from Jeff Nusatelli, and it makes sense because he was security forces. And so Tim Gallaudet was, he was an officer, an admiral leader, but you also have enlisted leaders, right? There's many more enlisted troops than there are officers, even in the Air Force. And security forces is mostly young enlisted troops. And so he was a leader of all these young enlisted troops. And you can just tell he was a leader. And he talked about just how the whistleblowers are just getting just manhandled. Just they have terrible experience. A lot of them can't get a job. They can't even get a job at like Home Depot. I think they're given dishonorable discharges just to screw them over.
Really?
Even worse.
Wow.
Yep. And they're isolated. He knows a lot of them. And he gave this just really heartfelt speech about his dad, who was a coal miner. So Jeff grew up, I think, right near David Grush. But his dad was a coal miner. And back when Jeff was 4 years old, his dad was in this violent opposition. It turned violent against him and his people because it was the union was actually forcing them to take serious I guess, repercussions. Like if any coal miners died in the coal plant or in the mine, then their wives wouldn't get money. If they were making more than $200 a month or something. There was just these big issues, and people actually got murdered over this. And they marched on Washington, and it was like a 1 million person march in Washington, or a very large march. I don't know if it was 1 million, but it was a lot.
Okay.
Into Washington, and they actually won. And I guess his dad was like one of the leaders in that movement.
Wow.
And so he made the analogy that now his 4-year-old son was like, came and talked to him. Hey, what are you doing, Dad? He's like, I'm writing my speech for this hearing. And he said it's just very similar that now he's like speaking up for all these people, all the whistleblowers against, I don't know if it's evil agencies, but at least there are people getting murdered from his viewpoint. And so
that's so crazy.
Yeah, and it's so important for everybody to realize, what our ancestors and the change that occurred is because people stood up to speak out against, tyranny, basically, and whatever. But so yeah, we have to continue that and not stay silent about certain things, because nothing will ever change, and there'll just be more and more control around things. So
yeah, for sure.
Freedom.
And I think like several speakers also discussed whistleblower protections, right? And like the need for transparency. So as a former pilot, how important do you think the safety and openness for these protections for whistleblowers are?
I mean, I think it's huge if we want to see any real actual change. And I don't think whistleblower protection is good at all. I think it's horrible. Yeah, he talked about Dylan Borland. He gave him as an example. So basically they told Dylan Borland to go to Arrow. So he went to Arrow. He told him everything he knows. And then they said, okay, now go to the Inspector General, right? So he went to the Inspector General. And the whole point of the Inspector General is to protect the whistleblowers, right? I mean, that is the purpose.
Yeah.
At least from what I understand of the Inspector General. It's supposed to be out of your main chain of command. It's supposed to be like the separate entity, and they're supposed to protect people that come to speak out when, human rights essentially are violated. And he told him everything about his background, his experience, everything he learned. And they said, okay, thank you for coming to us. Everything you said is now top secret. And if you share it with anyone, we're going to try you for treason.
Crazy.
So it was the complete opposite. It's like a honeypot where they're like, yeah, come talk to us. Tell us everything about your UFO experience or UAPs, whatever you know. And it's just like a trap, essentially. And I think that's why, if you remember, like David Grush had serious issues. He didn't want to go to talk to Arrow. And it could be maybe his experience with the IG, with the Inspector General. Or maybe the whistleblowers now are forming more of a group. I think Jeff said they're just isolated out on their own. A lot of them can't pay the rent. They're not getting any money.
Yeah.
And not only that, when they do whistleblow, they're just hammered by the public as well. You get so many people just writing them nasty comments. They're saying they're grifters, and they're like barely making any sort of living at all. And then people call them a grifter online for coming out. And so it's just a terrible situation.
I think
has to change.
I think a lot of those people are either paid or they're part of the intelligence community that has. I firmly believe that the intelligence community has a program or a group of operatives that their sole job or sole mission is to go and discredit these people that blow the whistle.
Kind of like an online version of what Susan's doing on Wikipedia, almost like it's like an intentional.
There definitely is that going on.
Yeah, an intentional effort. I don't know if it's like a whole bunch of bots that are just farmed from somewhere, or if like people are getting paid, like Justin just said. But it's so clear that there's like an intentional, like every time somebody comes out with something, it's like, oh no, here they come, and they have all these reasons why they're trying to discredit somebody, or that it's not true, or whatever. And it's like,
unfortunately, it's definitely all that, but there are also, those who, have fell completely into the propaganda and like are so unconscious to like the reality that we're actually living in, because they are basically brainwashed. I hate to say that, but, and so then they think, yeah, it is crazy because of how much crazy spin has been put around all of, this with UAP and, things going on. So yeah, I think it's a mixture of both actually. So there's the insiders, hired hands, going in, messing things up. And then there's the people who just really have no clue. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Dylan Borland even said that. He said that he would see in chat rooms, there'd be one sentence or a few sentences come out. And then within an hour, he said the exact same wording would be essentially copy pasted onto X. Or maybe at that time was onto Twitter. So he said, without a doubt, he can't like prove that it's like what you just said, Justin, that they're paid, but it was at least the same people who were in those chat rooms and then going on to X and saying the same things.
Okay, so the point is that there are intentional efforts online by groups of people to spread disinformation and attack whistleblowers as soon as they come out. It's like that you could just tell. It's like you could feel the wave of them coming. It's like as soon as somebody says something, you're just waiting for it. But anyways, okay.
That is some background. Well, but I will say that no, there's a lot more coming. Actually, I mean, I didn't get specifics, but there's people.
You're talking about whistleblowers?
Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
Like Jeff knows them. He's working with them. They're all pissed off.
Apparently there's 40 or 50 in the pipelines. That's a number I keep seeing circulating online. There's like 40 or 50.
That's what David Grush said initially, but
yeah,
there's definitely more. It's not just Matthew Brown. It's not just Dylan Borland. It sounds like there's more. And so, and they're not going to quit. Like Jeff Nusatelli's like, no, he's like, the battle just started. Like that was his big push when we were talking in the bar. He's like, there's kind of like people feel like it ended and it's like waning down, but he's like, no, he's like, really, the battle just started. Like we just got started. That was the big takeaway.
Yeah.
From Jeff. You want him leading too. Like, yeah, he is kick ass. Like it was awesome. It was great meeting him.
Yeah.
Okay, Chris. One session explored the social, ontological, and political ramifications of UAPs, which is like pretty heavy stuff. From your experience there, how do you think humanity is really handling the idea of non-human intelligence becoming part of the reality?
I don't know. I mean, I don't. I've kind of changed my view, and now I'm like, I don't think we're ready.
Okay.
So then we have Dr. Diana Pasulka, who gave a presentation on angels or AI, exploring the idea of post-biological intelligence. How did that conversation unfold, and where do you personally lean, more towards tech or transcendence?
Yeah, I thought Diana Pasulka's speech was amazing. She called in. I really do I love her work. And what's really interesting about it is she keeps pushing forward. It seems like other people, like Avi Loeb has like the same message that he's been saying for like the past, as long as I've been in this space, 5 years. It hasn't progressed. It's like anywhere. Like he just says the same general message, but Diana's really progressed. And that was interesting. Like I hadn't heard this before. And so it was talking about higher order beings in a post-biological universe. And she based it on this Dr. Stephen Dick, his theories, which I thought was really interesting. And his theory is actually about different scales of intelligence and organization, which I thought immediately of the fractal universe. That's the book I'm writing on, is Scales of Existence and Consciousness. And it was almost exactly the argument, but they said, I thought they were going to say scales of size, and they said scales of time. So time scales. But basically it's what is consciousness? Do we understand? And if any advanced system will most likely be past biological. So, yeah, I guess kind of what we're seeing, or what you hear about from these weird UAP events, is we can't even understand some technology that's even past biological entities. And David Grush talks about the biologics, and he says we don't even know if they were ever alive. It's kind of like that of advanced technology. so she really pushed his theory, Stephen Dick, and it sounded really interesting. And then she also brought up the famous European sightings. So Fatima, I've been to Fatima several times. It's in Portugal. She talked about the miracle of the sun, 40,000 plus people seeing this event, which she said was a UAP event. And then another big event I hadn't heard of in Spain. So it was like these young girls would go to the center of the town in Spain. I can't remember the name off the top of my head. This was in the 60s. And then they would like speak in tongues and predict future events and basically have premonitions, and even may have levitated. There's some argument of levitation. And so she related that back to these priests back in the day that could levitate, levitating priests, and saying that these could all be related to some sort of UAP phenomenon. So basically related to the phenomenon that we're seeing through history. So yeah, a really interesting discussion. That would be another talk to watch. There were many really interesting briefings.
Who was your top? Give us your list of your top 3 favorite presentations throughout the event.
Yeah, I've already mentioned Jeff Nusatelli. I think that's a must watch. I also think Diana's is really interesting. I hadn't heard that argument before, and it really resonated with my thinking on the control systems and fractal universe type stuff. Yep. And then the other one, probably not to miss, is Jake Barber's session with Gary Nolan. It was just such a good venue. It was Jake and Gary just sitting down, chatting, and they've worked together. So Gary would just ask him like set up questions, and then Jake would just like talk. He was just such a comfortable speaker. And just explained everything. I mean, basically, they have so much data, and now they have to go through and actually package it in a way that it doesn't just get shot down. Like when Jake first came out, he was immediately like hammered, called it a grifter, and all these things. So I got the impression that they just want to have everything in a watertight package. Like here's all our results, and it's done in such a scientific manner that it has to be accepted, essentially. So that discussion, those are probably the 3. Okay, and then another interesting one, Leslie, you asked about, did they talk about consciousness, et cetera? And this is probably the most woo topic out there. And it was pretty interesting. So it was Dr. Michael Bollender, I believe he's a retired judge from Germany. And his talk was called From Description to Meaning, Epistemological Problems in Scientific UAP Research. And what I thought was interesting, and the ethics of contact. So and initially he came out, and Peter Skafish, who runs the Sol Foundation administratively, introduced him and said this will be a controversial topic or controversial discussion. So I think that's always a great way to introduce somebody, actually, because you really listen up like, okay, this is going to be controversial.
Yeah, right.
And it was interesting because he said actually that with abductees, it was the only talk that was really about abductees, need to actually speak out. He thinks that they have a requirement. I don't know if it's that strong, but in order for anything to change, they have to speak out. Although it's obviously difficult. But at the same point, society has a moral obligation to meet them halfway and like protect them and actually listen to them and not like make fun of them, ostracize them, etc. Yeah. So it was interesting that he said that they also have to speak out. Like experiencers, if you want anything to change, we'll have to actually.
That's why I was saying, write a book.
Yeah, come out with your write it. You have to write a book. But interesting too. Then he got into the ethics of contact, and he's a judge. So basically, these abductions go against like many laws of the Geneva Convention, really for crimes against humanity. And he listed out the specific crimes against humanity. There's different clauses. I can't list them off by name, but basically everything that happens in an abduction, right? You're pulled out against your will. You're experimented on, do terrible, whatever inspections without your approval. All these types of things. And so Whitley Strieber at the end asked a question, how can we get it to change? And the judge is basically like, well, we have to do what you did. Like, we need more people like you to actually come out and speak about what's going on. And and that's really the only way it'll change. But like with anything, any paradigm shift, anyone that goes out first just gets shot, you know. Like, you just get pummeled. You need people to just go out and be tough skinned. And that's been my mentality lately is, you know, I'm in it for the long haul. You know, I know you're going to get hammered a lot. So I'm just like in a marathon gait, you know, which I should probably work harder and spend more time, but I just can't go ambulance chasing. You know, I don't want to be the guy that's following the day-to-day UFO news and then reporting on it. It's just,
it's so much to keep up with. It's so energy taxing, right? I have a hard time keeping up with the once a week thing. I'm like, oh my God, there's just like so much.
And it's like there's so many letdowns that you kind of get burned out doing that a little bit.
Definitely get burned out. Yeah, I got burned out. It's easy to get burned out. But nothing will change unless people do stuff about it.
And I think the people who are doing stuff like you know, AlliE, and you know what we're doing, and all the people who are putting themselves out there, who, you know, risk their careers and everything else, you know, there's something pushing them. I don't want to say spiritual. I mean, I've only the word I can think of spiritually, but there's something within them that makes them feel like they need to do that, you know, and it's a push. And I think there's a purpose for that. Even with the experiencers, even though it seems negative, there are some theories out there that, you know, before we incarnated, that somehow we agreed to this because there's something bigger going on than what we can see through our human life. But they remember for a reason. Maybe not all experiencers, just like I was relating it to near-death experiencers, how they feel not pushed. It's not like they're forced to or anything, but the need to tell their story, even though most of the population might think they're crazy or, you know, not believe them. There's like no reason to share it. There's nothing they're gaining from it other than sharing it and no having gain. That within them, feeling like they're doing what they're supposed to do, you know. And I think it's a purpose behind it all, and it's evolution or whatever it is. You know, we are ascending, or, you know, things are continuing, and we're all a major part of that. And the experiencers who do share their experiences feel the need to share. And I think there's a reason why some recall it in the first place, and it's because they are meant to like tell others.
Yeah,
and I don't
absolutely.
remember where it came from, if it was in the speech or one of the questions. But I guess allegedly one of the abductees asked, you know, hey, why are you doing this? And the answer he got from the Greys was basically, we have the right. You know, we have the right to do this. And so
I've heard those kind of experiences as well. And it's like, I've heard, I don't remember if it came from like an abduction story or a channeling session or what. I listen to a lot of content. I'll just put it like that. And sometimes the stories get jumbled in my head as to where the origin is. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is basically piggybacking off of what Leslie was saying, is that a lot of the perspective is that people agreed to participate, like, because, okay, I think it was from Geraldine Orozco when we were speaking about her being a hybrid mother of hybrid children. And she said that she agreed to it prior to incarnating here, that she had some sort of soul contract with the aliens, that she was going to participate in this hybrid program, and that her human physical vessel would not have the memories of making that agreement. But regardless, the agreements are still made, so she's still doing it. So when people get abducted and they're like, yo, you're doing this against my will, the Greys are like, actually, not really. You gave us permission. You just don't know it. So there's that, you know?
Didn't they show a contract or something? I don't know.
I don't know. But it's just so interesting to think that, like, you could have agreed to go through these kinds of experiences before the veil of forgetfulness was put over your human meat suit. And it's like, you're thinking you're going through a trauma, but really it's like a side quest you signed up for.
You signed up for more trauma, so actually you don't have enough. We have to turn up the trauma.
It's pretty wild. It's just a perspective to consider that might be the case.
Well, and it's interesting because I got an email from one of the someone who commented on one of my recent videos, saying that they were a hospice nurse, and his name's David. Hopefully he comes on the show. He's been on Jeff Mara podcast.
Okay.
But basically, he's been working as a hospice nurse for many years, and he actually does hospice for children. actually,
wow.
when, little cancer kids who are just in their last few weeks of life, and he actually takes care of them, been doing it for many years. And he says the kids, and I'm curious to find out how many of them, they talk about seeing gray type aliens, and they'll be in separate rooms, separate areas, different groups. And he said just consistently they talk about seeing these beings.
Wow.
I asked him to have on the show. Hopefully I'll have him on Lehto Files.
Okay.
Are they scared of them? It
end of
sounds
this
like they're
month.
not.
No, it sounds like they're like helping them or something. I don't know. I want to get more details, but
well, stay tuned to Lehto Files for that.
Yeah. So when I say, well, I don't know if we're ready, I mean, I think we still have much to learn about just the nature of reality, what existence is. And I think we're going to get a lot of answers in the next, few years, just on from physics in general, makeup of the universe. So I'm optimistic. That was really the big takeaway I got from the Sol conference. There's still a terrible stigma. It's still out there. Europe actually is more stigmatized professionally than the US, which I guess makes sense to me. But it was sad to hear that, one guy said he's a Belgian. I think he's at Delft Academy. That's a famous technical academy in the Netherlands. And one of the main tenured professors there, he was tenured, was talking about or looking into UAPs on his off time, not even on company time. And they kicked him out. They basically fired him.
Wow.
Which, I don't know how you fire a tenured professor.
Yeah, I thought tenure meant you were exempt or like immune from being fired.
Yeah. Not if you talk about UAPs.
Wow.
So you're kicked out. And then I talked to another person that worked with NASA, and it was like in the space industry. I was like, well, how does NASA and the space industry deal with it? And he said they just can't say the word UAP.
What? Oh, wow.
Ever. Yeah, you just can't even say the word. So I know it just takes a while. Like, we're in the community and we hear it every day. We're like, how could that be possible? There's all these laws being passed. And what about all these whistleblowers and hearings and Congress looking into it? But I think the general run of the mill public, they like see this stuff, but they're still like, no, you can't look into that professionally, etc. So there's still a huge stigma, but there's a ton of stuff going on in the background. There really is. And I think I agree with Jeff Nusatelli that this is it's the beginning. The battle's like just started. So there's many more people.
Well, that's awesome. I'm glad to hear the optimism and that there is things happening behind the scenes. And I'm like channeling Hodor from Game of Thrones, where he's just like, hold the door, like, we just got to hold the door because there is something behind it trying to push through. So it's like, yeah, that's awesome.
That's what Jeff Nusatelli said. He said Grush kicked in the door.
Kick in the door, in the floor.
That's what he said. He said Grush kicked in the door, and behind the door was Matthew Brown.
Okay, yeah.
And he gave interesting, I will give some more nuggets, because he talked about the hearing, and it was just, he said it was like totally disorganized. Like, they didn't even know. He got a call like the day before, okay, we need you to testify.
Wow.
Like, he didn't
You got to
even
show
know.
up on their own dime too, right? I'm sorry.
He had to pay. They each had to pay to go. They didn't
That's
get any
crazy.
money or paid to go.
Is that purposely done, you think?
I don't know. If it's just poorly planned, but he said they did not want Matthew Brown at all. Like, Dylan Borland didn't know if he would get in, and I think he luckily got into the hearing, but they did not want Matthew Brown.
Wow,
Like,
I wonder why.
We don't want him near. And I was
Because
like,
he knows too much.
Congress. Yeah, they did not want him near a microphone. So yeah, but what he said is, Grush kicked in the door. Behind the door was a bunch of whistleblowers, and it was Matthew Brown, and they're like, we don't want to hear it. But there's still, the door's open. So
yeah. Well, let the floods begin. Let the floods commence, because I'm here for it.
Yeah, me too.
yeah.
Yeah, I have a feeling everything's going to change when and if, everything floods in and the door doesn't manage to be closed. And maybe that's the concern with the powers, that.
Yeah, once you push that first domino, it's just a matter of.
Yeah.
I think
be
it is
drastic
changing.
changes.
It just, it changes on time scale of years. It's not going to be days and months, it'll be years. And like, just look how many more UAP podcasts there are. You know, like when I started, there was like very few. Jeremy Corbell didn't even have one, you know, and now there's like a plethora. You have all these people who had big mainstream channels, like Chris Ramsey. You know, he had like his Magic Box channel,
over 6 million subscribers.
Yeah, and now he's like one of the top UAP channels. You know, we have just so many more people entering the space.
I hopped on the bandwagon too. Me too.
Exactly. Sabine Hassenfelder, you know, she's talking about it. Hank Green's talking about it. Like, they're still very skeptical, but they're talking about it now. And so I think it is slowly changing. And Age of Disclosure is coming out in, you know, just a week or two, probably.
Yep. Finally, we have a freaking date. We've only been waiting since January for a date.
I'm so excited to watch that documentary.
I also think it should have came out before the UAPDA got voted on, but that's a sidetrack. We don't have to go there. Ask him this question. I'm curious to hear.
Okay, I feel like you probably already answered this, Chris, but here's the question anyway. All right, so after spending those intense days surrounded by top thinkers, scientists, and experiencers, what's your biggest personal takeaway from Sol 2025, and how might it shape your future work on the Lehto Files and beyond?
Yeah, I guess just biggest takeaway is if we've been burned out, which you know, I think if you're in the space, it's very easy to get burned out, is it's reinvigorating, because meeting people that are, you know, as invested as they are. You know, Jeff Nusatelli is all in. Everyone who was there really flew across the world. Many of them flew across Europe, and there is just huge momentum in the background that maybe we don't see. But that's what I was surprised by, how much is going on in the background, how many different angles, when you really get it all together and like one, it doesn't fit in a small room. Like, that was a big room, you know, it was a giant conference room, you know, maybe like almost 100 yards long. I mean,
wow,
there was a lot of people there, and every one of those people had like a serious background, and many of them represented many organizations. So there's a lot going on. When you see it all in one room, it's really interesting, and just, I guess, reinvigorating that I think we will see something.
Awesome. Well, I'm really glad that you went, and I'm really glad that you had that experience, and you know, saw all those presentations and had all those really cool bar moments, and even the awkward peeing moment was probably cool in some sense. But anyway,
absolutely.
I just want to thank you for coming on and sharing these experiences with us, and kind of like bringing us there so we could like live vicariously through you, since we didn't go. I always love bringing people on when they come from events like this, because I just like to have that experience from your perspective shared with everybody, because it's just cool to hear. And I'm sure other people probably feel the same, or at least I hope they do.
I hope so as well. Yeah.
Also, we spoke originally for the first one, I think it was, or I don't know if it was the first Sol conference, but Dr. Daniel Bronco, and speaking of like the push from within, now he has his own YouTube channel, you know, specifically about consciousness. So everybody should check that out. But so yeah, it's just really, things are moving along, and I think even within, you know, the society itself, like the citizens, I should say, of the world, I think they are open-minded and ready for this, and basically, yeah, it's moving along. So
the woo train is chugging along. Woo!
Yes, it is.
Chugga, 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 chugga.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. Chris, was there any last things you wanted to say? Anything we didn't ask you? Any thoughts you wanted to get out before I do the closing?
No. Thanks again for everything you do. And if people want to continue the conversation, please come to the Discord.
Yes.
Formerly the UAP Society Discord, now the Lehto Files Discord, but maybe we should change it back to the UAP Society Discord. I don't know.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me, Smalls.
Whatever you want, AlliE. Well, thanks for all your work, guys.
The famous question. I know he's answered it in previous.
I want to. Just, I feel like we should.
Oh, well, I mean,
how do you ask it? I want to hear how you ask it. Yeah.
Okay, go just ask it.
Oh, okay. Chris, what is your greatest hope for the future of humanity? That one?
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, yours is shorter than mine. I like it.
Oh,
It's different than how I ask. I ask,
okay.
what do you think it means to be human? But yours is.
Yeah, you added that little spin on it, which is cool.
Yeah. What is my greatest hope for humanity?
Yes.
Mm.
As a whole, humanity.
And I will say that Linda Moulton Howe gave the longest answer. It was a 15-minute answer.
Yet to show me that video. I'm still yet to see
Can you give the synopsis? What was her synopsis?
Oh, I don't. This was the first time that the question was asked, and I actually think it came from Leslie. I think Leslie put it in the comment section, and it got missed. And so I put it in there, or put it in there again, and then it got asked to her, but under my name. So, but anyway, so the credit actually should go to Leslie. But
oh, that's interesting.
But it is a famous question now.
So, so essentially, though, you don't remember how she answered it?
No, it was such a long-winded answer, and it went to like 4 different things. I forgot, but it was a good answer. But anyway, sorry, I'm getting sidetracked.
But not good enough. You don't remember any of it. I would say I'll keep it short then. I guess my greatest hope is that we will be mature enough to let go of the reins. That's what I would say.
Wow, I never thought of that before.
It's making me think of like when people talk about going on an ayahuasca journey. It's like they hear the ayahuasca spirit. Are you ready to let go? Are you ready to let go? And I remember somebody saying like, I don't know how to do that. What does that even mean? And it took them like 10, 15 minutes talking with Mother Ayahuasca about what letting go actually means.
Going with the flow, right? Live in the flow.
Yep. Like letting go of your grip
Control.
or your perceived grip of control. Yeah. Of making things go the way you want them to. So yeah. Okay. Well, cool. Yeah. That's a good answer.
Yeah. It's a big universe. I don't think being a human is like all there is. That's what.
No.
So.
Thank you.
No.
Yeah.
And just for the record, I think your scalar theory is dead on.
Yeah.
Awesome, man.
So
cool.
Just for the record.
Yes.
Awesome. Yeah.
Very
appreciate
cool.
it.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Justin. Yes. Thank you, Leslie. Thank you to our audience. And while you guys are here, please do us a favor and smash that like button unapologetically. Click like, click subscribe, leave us lovely comments down below, and then share this video with your family and friends to help us spread the good word. All right, Chris, we do a 3-piece closer. I'm going to demonstrate it for you. And then if you are available to join us, you can join us. We do much love, peace, and namaste. Are you down?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right.
Much love. There you go. Peace. And namaste.